I've been coming here for almost 15 years. It's one of the most special places on earth, and it's not because it's a racetrack, it's because of the history that's here, and even you don't have to know about the history to make this place special. All it takes is driving in through the tunnel and emerging up into this amazing stadium that is the 2.5-mile super speedway. And I think just being here and seeing it is a spectacle in itself, and that's enough to make people extremely impressed with what's going on here.
I mean, take a look around. It's the atmosphere, it's the gravity, it's when you come through the tunnels in this place, you feel it. And no matter how many times you come here, it never gets old, and that sensation never lightens. This place is filled with history. I mean, names like Roush, Andretti, AJ Foyt. I mean, the names of names in motorsports have contested and won this race. And the great thing about this is it is the hardest motor race in the world to win, bar none. I know Le Mans is tough. I know Le Mans got the history, but Daytona chews cars up and spits them out. It tests every facet of your team, not just the driver, not just the equipment.
This is a really special race. Personally and for the world, really. For me, it's a race that I've grown up going to. My father's had some really great history here. He's run this race with his teams 10 times, and he's won every one of those times. It's a highly regarded, one of the most highly regarded races in road racing, especially in the US, but really all over the world. And to be able to survive 24 hours of a race here and to win is beyond a big deal. It's really the pinnacle of road racing.
For me personally, I've been doing it for a very long time. I think the first time I did this race, I was 9 years old. I've been fortunate enough to drive this race. I've turned wrenches in this race. I've owned my own team, and now I've been able to compete at the top level as a director of operations, which basically means I get to sit back and watch everybody else work. So I look for small fires before they become big ones.
Well, I guess it's the magic of racing. You know, there's such history here. It's one of the crown jewels of racing in the world. And for a driver, just want to win the biggest races in the world, to be recognized as one of the best.
I think more than anything else, I've been to so many of these. I worked here for 15 years. I just think this is so unique because it's an amphitheater. You can sit in the highest seat and see every inch of this track.
Well, you're talking about 24 hours. It's a long race. I don't do it by myself. There was 3 other drivers, Simon Pagenaud, Tom Blomqvist, and Colin Brown. So when you're having 4 drivers, everyone does about 2 hours a shift, and the car needs to last 24 hours literally. So you go from day, from night, from windy, from cold, from hot, and all sort of different circumstances, different series racing against you. So it's a huge challenge, and that's what it is, 24 hours.
I grew up 4 miles from here. And there are not a lot of African American kids that grew up here that were drawn to this place like I was drawn to it. And I had a love for cars that goes way, way back. You know, stepping into this place for the first time, there was nobody here but me. That feeling of like, I gotta be in here when there's 80,000 people. I gotta be here when the entire world is looking at Daytona.
I've done the 24-hour race now 5 or 6 times over a period of time. But this is the first time I've been in a car that's been really competitive with Aston Martin. The Vantage GTD has been exceptional this weekend, really fast enough that we were able to walk away with a Rolex watch and the win at the 24 hours.
But when things go right in these races, you just want to come back. So here we are. We have a new car, a lot of things unknown, but desire to win again.
It's an incredible challenge. You know, we're all here to race. We're all here as competitors because we want to win. And the challenge to keep your machinery and your drivers and your team going for that amount of time on 31 degrees of banking, it's not just blasting through flat countryside, it's heavy load on the cars and so many pit stops, you know, pit stops every 40 minutes with tire changes and so many classes that are going on. I think there's too many cool things about this race to point out just one, and I think that if you combine it all, it's just the teamwork aspect of it and trying to keep your machine and team together for 24 hours plus, really.
So I've done a lot of 24-hour races, so Nürburgring, Le Mans, you know, all these sort of iconic 24-hour races. The bit that always stands out for me is how much fun racing in America is, under IMSA rules, but here at the Daytona circuit, you know, I don't ever get the chance to be on the banking. You know, there's nothing in Europe that has that sort of banking that we use. And, you know, that makes a big difference. It's something completely unique to a 24-hour race.
I got a chance to be in a Daytona prototype. One of the first Daytona prototypes with Hurley Haywood, a guy that's won this race 5 times and probably the greatest American sports car racer ever produced. To go around this track at 190 miles an hour with one of my heroes, because I saw him win the first Rolex 24 I ever went to. God could have taken me right then. My life was complete.
You know, it's like a tunnel vision. First of all, you don't see much out of the race car. You know, there's a roof and the vision is really centered. Can't see much on the sides. And you're going so fast, you're just focused on going through traffic. Like I said, there's so many cars on the track, about 60 cars. You're constantly weaving through. So 1 second of, you know, lack of attention could be fatal for the race car. So you really have to be on the top of your game for the entire 24 hours. It's very daunting, very difficult. Physically, mentally, it's one of the toughest races that exists.
And it's the crowd, the fans that come along. It's the openness of the paddock. You know, we're not used to having a competitor in a space right next to you where you can see exactly what they're doing with the car. And that openness is completely unique to racing in America. And it's enjoyable. You know, you get to spend more time over a race weekend racing hard against your competitors, but they're also your friends. You know, we spend so much time of our life on the roads, traveling around doing racing, that they're sort of like a family.
There's so much compassion and competition here, but there's also such camaraderie too. If you need something, you know you can go to your buddy at this team or another team and they'll help you out. No questions asked and in an instant. They'll almost take the team shirt off their back and give it to you if it had the right logos on it, you know what I mean? So it's a great atmosphere for both the teams and the fans, and sure, you've seen all of the fans running around here today and yesterday. It's the biggest crowd we've had for this event, and I'm just pleased that myself, my team, and all the other teams here could put on a show for them.
Yeah, we're defending the championship, obviously, from last year. Great race. It was a really sprint from the beginning to the end. You know, the key is you gotta be there. I mean, you can't push the car all the time because, again, you have to finish, and to finish first you gotta finish, right? So you gotta make sure, take care of the tires, take care of the equipment, and stay out of trouble, because even if something happened, let's say which happened to us last year, a flat tire, we're a lap down, we're able to come back, and stay in the lead lap and win the race. So the panicking is the enemy of a 24-hour race. You gotta just stay cool and make sure put yourself in that position.
As a child coming here and seeing my father compete here, I always wanted to get that opportunity. And I was very fortunate actually with a very good friend of mine, Spencer Pompelli, when we were both in college together, decided to try to tackle it together ourselves for the very first time with the race team. And probably way too early on in my career, I was able to drive this race and just have a love affair with it. I think it brings out the best in what North American racing has to offer, as far as from the drivers, the teams, and now with the new GTP class, the best manufacturers in the world are competing for the overall prize.
There's a lot of things going on, a lot of action. We have about 60 cars on the racetrack, which means basically just like you on the highway, but we're going about 200 miles an hour, going between cars, left, right, and you always have to constantly be very careful not to damage your car, not to end your race. You're going through the weather, the weather is changing, the light's changing, you're going through the nights. Personally, you're going through a lot of emotion, your body's getting tired, so there's a lot to it. And obviously the mechanical aspect, the car could break down at any time, so you're always for 24 hours really kind of anxious, stressed out. But like I said, when things go well, it's so rewarding and keeps having you come back.
You know, the prototype this time is absolutely incredible. They are a space, I say spaceship, because there is so much that you can change, so much that you can do on the technology, on software. It's crazy. So I'm enjoying very much to be around a great machine with Acura produced, and looking forward to again a lot of race ahead of us.
Every hour is a drama, so it's like a drama in 24 parts. And because the competition is so close from start to finish, even if you go to the bathroom, you know when you come back you miss something. So you know you're nudging the guy next to you, what did I miss? There's nothing like the Rolex 24. It really just keeps getting better and better and better. I love it.
I'm not really one to watch a lot of sports. Whenever I watch a sport too much, I want to do it. For racing, you know, especially watching a race, you know, it's great, but I'd rather be behind the wheel. And you know, that being said, to compete here once again is a really big deal for me. If I ever do get the chance to run in the 24-hour race, you know, we're going to do it to win. So, yeah, we're pretty serious about that.
I'm an American wheelman. I love driving, you know, and I'm happiest when I have a helmet on my head. However, I'm a racer at heart, and I'm at home at the racetrack. So whether that means I have a helmet on my head or a radio headset on, or if I'm coaching or just even running errands as part of the team, there's just something about that team racing aspect that draws me to it, and I'm a racer. I love racing.
Several places that are very tough. One of them, the night time, because of cold weather, very difficult to see. And the sunset actually, the sunrise actually is tough too, because you're tired. You're ready. It feels like you just came from a nightclub. You're like, oh my God, and now I gotta drive 2 hours. But in the end of the day, it just clicks in, and you're ready to go. So you gotta be sharp, you got to make sure that you rest, you take a shower, you eat, because you need to be prepared for the next round that you're in.
My favorite moment at this race was being up on the spotter stand during the sunrise of Daytona. Not a lot of people get to see that, and a lot of the people are in the infield and enjoying the race, but I got the fortunate perspective to be up on the roof of the 7th floor of the Daytona International Speedway while the race is going on and the sun is coming up here in Florida, and it was just amazing to take in.
I like when the night comes down, and I like when the day comes up. I think those moments are very specific to 24-hour races.
You find different people. I think the people in the stands, a lot of those guys are really sports car nuts who love to see the exhibition of speed from afar. Then you got the lunch pail crowd that's in the infield. They come out in their RVs, they bring the entire family. They love being near the sound and all of that organic experience that you get being close up to the cars. So it's really different types of folks that come to the race, and they all mesh. To see what you're looking at and to hear it behind you, there's nothing like that. It is just, every fan should do this race. It should be on every fan's bucket list.
Everything has to be perfect. Every nut, bolt, every axle greased, every connection tied, tightened, checked, and triple checked. But you also have to have the spirit of the team. This is a taxing event on everybody. And if you don't have a team that gels well and supports each other and will help pick up one guy or gal when they've faltered at their job and really be the tide that rises all the boats within the team, you don't stand a chance here at Daytona International Speedway.
Organization, a lot of luck, even more luck, and just preparation. There's teams that come out here and win it on their first time, but I think that those people get rather spoiled because there's people that come out here for their whole life and can't even complete a race here at Daytona.
It's my first race car that I fully built on my own, so seeing it racing for 24 hours and win the race, it's pretty cool.
Everything that goes into it, from the person making the logistics of the hotel reservations and rental cars, all the way to the engineers helping set up the car, and the drivers have to keep it together for 24 hours straight. You know, even just one small mistake out of a driver can end the race for your entire team. I think, what does it take to win a 24? Teamwork.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. You know, that's the beauty about racing. Again, in America, you know, the age doesn't seem to be such a big problem, and it's just what you do on the track and your performance on the track. Yeah, so I've got one watch, and you know, most people in life, to get one Rolex is a big achievement, and I would love the opportunity to come back and get another one.
It doesn't matter what we do. I'm a sports car guy. I worked here. I've been a fan, and it's going to be a part of my life probably till I'm not living anymore.